is Laura, and I'm 28 years old. I've been a bus driver for 7 years. It started off that I just really love to drive, but now, looking back, I love how a driver forms a bond with her students. Well, you have to wait until you're 21. You have to have 3 years experience on your regular driver's license, and then you get your CDL, and you need your passenger endorsement and your school bus endorsement. And in order to drive a big bus, you have to have a B-class license. For the small bus, it's a C, so I went for the B, so I can do both. You had to take the written test, well, not the first written test, you had to take a written test specific to your upgrades, and then you had to take a road test in the bus, and you had to do your whole pre-trip and everything. No. I started out driving for Laidlaw. That was where I got my CDL, and then Laidlaw was taken over by First Student, and now I'm driving for George Dapper. I guess the thing that I love most is that pretty much every year you get new kids, and you always form a bond with your kids. And most of the time it's a good thing. Sometimes you get a few kids that are crazy, but no, actually with my license, I can pretty much go anywhere if I need to, and I think really there's nothing else I would rather do than drive a bus. Yes. Actually, my route, I have 2 schools that I do. I don't think there ever really is a typical day. I mean, I have 3 kids for my first route. I pick them up if they go and take them to school. And then I have to rush and pick up my aide, get my next 2 students and take them all the way up to North Jersey. Yes. I had a student and an aide get into it. The student started screaming at my aide and she jumped up in her face. And my aide also jumped up and started screaming at the student. The student was 18 and my aide was 66, I think. And they wouldn't stop. I had to have the base call the cops. I tried to talk them, to calm them down. That really didn't work. When they wouldn't stop, I pulled over to the side of the road, had base call the cops, and I let them know. They've called the cops will be coming, You guys wouldn't stop, you wouldn't listen to me and calm down, so this is what has to happen. The scariest thing I've ever encountered is when I lost my brakes going down Route 130. I was driving a spare bus because my bus was in the shop. And I wrote it up so I could avoid having a breakdown. And then the spare bus they gave me while I was going down Route 130 lost the brakes. So I had to make sure it was clear and get over to the side. And I used my e-brake to stop the bus. And I called it in over the radio. And as I'm sitting there waiting for them to get back to me on whether they were going to send a tow truck or a mechanic, my engine starts smoking. Apparently I blew the radiator, but at that point I didn't know that. So I got off the bus, and if I had had kids on the bus, I would have taken them out the emergency exit and taken them down the road away from the bus. Because the way the cars were coming, it would be taking the smoke, or God forbid if anything ignited, it would be taking it away. So we would have walked backwards along the side of the road away from the bus. The strangest thing that's ever happened to me was when I had a student take all his clothes off on the bus. He was an autistic student, and I guess he just thought he was on the beach. He started with his shoes and his socks, and then he started shimmying his pants down. And when I looked up and saw he had no shirt, I was like, what? So I pulled over onto the side of Route 1, and I had my aide go back there and check, and he was just bucky naked. The day that made me the most happy was the day I got my CDL license. I worked really hard for it, and I knew now there was nothing stopping me from what I wanted to do. One thing that I won't forget ever is working for Laidlaw. Laidlaw was an international corporate company, but the base that I was at, they really made you feel like part of the family. It was a small base. Everybody treated each other very well. We were just basically one big happy family. I mean, when we had our staff meetings every month, everybody would come in and it was like a family reunion. Everybody's, oh, how are you? You know, I haven't seen you. And it was great. I think the best advice I could give is try to keep space around your bus. And for new drivers, never forget it's your bus. You're in control. No matter what the aide says, no matter what the kids try to say, when you're out on that road and you're driving, it's your bus. You are in control. Nobody else.